Hey guys, and welcome to just a really quick video about looking after your knife. Now if you're anything like me, you go out bush, you go out camping, hiking, what have you, your kit's really what's looking after you, whether it be your shoes, your pack, your stove, or your knife. While you're out there, you really need it to be reliable and functioning at its best. So it pays that when you get home, you look after the kit. Now, today I'm just going to talk about looking after a knife. It can be any knife, and I follow a very similar process even with, my diving knife, my spearfishing knife, etc. But today I'll be using my SE Laser Strike for the demo. So you've just come back from your trip and your knife is quite dirty, you've used it, there's bits of bark on it, or what have you, and the coating's got all marks on it. And don't get me wrong, it looks great when a knife is got that used look to it rather than being spick and span from the store. But once again, when you're out bush and what have you, you want to know that your equipment is in tip-top condition. And even though definitely the knife will work and you don't really need to pardon me, clean the protective coating, for me definitely it's a peace of mind, and it's just kind of a habit as well to just look after the kit and give it a good clean once I get back. So apart from giving it a good clean, obviously you need to give it a little bit of a touch up, a sharpen up. Now hopefully we can all agree that the safest type of knife is a sharp knife. Obviously the duller the knife is, the more pressure you have to put on the blade, and the more chances if something slips that you're going to actually hurt yourself. So rather than sharpening the knife once every couple of months or what have you, I definitely tend to touch it up at the end of every single trip. And because I touch it up at the end of every single trip, I don't need to put a lot of effort into it, meaning I don't have to go through coarse rods and then finer rods, etc. I pretty much use the finer rods. The sharpener that I use is the Spyderco. I've got a separate video on that. It's pretty much my favorite sharpener, nice and easy to use, gets great results as well. So like we mentioned, you come back from a solid trip. I use warm soapy water if needed, if it's really that covered in dirt and what have you, just to, again, give the protective coating a clean and give the cutting edge a clean as well. Once you've done that, make sure you dry it again just with a paper towel. Works perfectly fine, but really make sure it's nice and dry. If the knife's been dropped in mud and it's really gone through hell, especially on the SE Laser Strike, I'll undo the handle and give the handle a good clean and what have you. Again, it's all about just looking after the equipment. It'll still work even if you don't do that, but it's in tip-top condition. So if you're out bush and something does go wrong, your knife's ready to go in the best possible condition that you can get it in. Once I've given it a good clean and again dried it out, I'll give it a touch up. Now, like I mentioned before, use the Spyderco, use the ultra fine rods, nice and simple, usually about 20 each side will do the business, works quite well. And then, pardon me, once you've touched up, you need to, especially with the SE 1095 steel, look after the cutting surface. It will rust. The protective coating on the knife is up top notch, doesn't need a lot of TLC, just a good clean every now and then, but definitely the cutting surface needs a little bit of oil on there to prevent it from rusting. Lots of different options out there. I go with a reasonably cheap option and a non-toxic option. So even though I don't use this knife for food prep, if I'm out in the wild and something goes wrong and I do need to use this knife for food prep, I know that it hasn't had any crazy harsh chemicals on there or oils. So I just use this mineral oil. Now this is actually a bamboo cutting board and wood products type of oil. Like I mentioned, it's non-toxic and it works really well. I use it on my dive knife, spearfishing knife as well, and it protects that knife really well from the salt water when I'm out in the ocean. So you don't need to put a lot on there, just literally a drop on the paper towel. I'll go over the cutting surface once or twice, so it gets a fair bit of oil on there. It also acts to help clean it a little bit more, and I'll just wipe off the excess on the blade like so. I won't cover the whole knife with it. Again, there's no real point in covering the protective surface. It's really tough as well. If it would start to wear off, or I took off all the protective coating, definitely I'd coat the rest of it. But apart from that, you just really need the cutting surface. Once you've done that, pack it all up and it's good to go. You know now that the knife is sitting there, and when you need to use it, it's nice and clean, hasn't got crap all over it. It's absolutely razor sharp, ready to go, and it's got that protective coating on the blade. So suddenly going out and it's going to be a wet weather trip, you don't need to recoat it or anything like that. It's all set to go. It's pretty much pick up and ready to use in its best possible condition. Guys, I hope you liked the video. Hope you got something out of it. Give us a thumbs up if you did. And if you have any other requests, please feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.